Israel already knows right now as we speak where all the main people of the regime are right now, and I'll bet you anything that they will be taking advantage of this war to eliminate all of them when they can, right? And once you get rid of all of their regime leaders, especially if it includes Khamenei, and then everything will start falling apart. You know what I mean? Like, even if the that is the main thing you need to do, basically removing the regime's ability to get to manage and organize and give the commands required to suppressing the Iranian people. If you remove that obstacle and create the chaos from removing all of the regime leaders, if you do all of that, then everything else will start falling like dominoes. So I don't know what kind of a limited plan would bring the Islamic Republic back to the table. I don't, especially given that at that point, if I was the Islamic Republic, I mean, I'm not saying what you're saying is impossible. Everything is possible, right? But if I was the Islamic Republic, if I get attacked by United States, I would double down on not giving anything to United States. You have to understand the survival mechanism of the Islamic Republic is that when all of this attacks from the Islamic Republic's perspective is a threat to their survival because of the internal conflict, because of the people who are for in support of the Islamic Republic will stop supporting the Islamic Republic, become disappointed. A lot of the people who are working for the Islamic Republic, if they get the signal that the Islamic Republic is falling, then they will abandon. They might be looking at for saving themselves. They were looking for an escape. So any sign of weakness to the United States will become a bigger threat to their downfall than the bombardments from the sky. So if America attacks, they need to show to the two groups of people who support the Islamic Republic and people who work for the Islamic Republic, that everything is fine, we're good, nothing is happening. So if, for example, the Islamic Republic stops enriching uranium, that is a signal of weakness, especially given how many times they have said to their followers and that we will never do that. And that level of weakness by itself will topple the Islamic Republic more than the bombardments from the sky. And this is why a lot of people think that the people who work in the Islamic Republic, they're complete idiots, and that's why they're saying like, oh, we will never give up enrichment of uranium, because they're idiots. They should. No, no, if they do, they understand that bombardments from the sky will not do regime change. Weakness, signaling weakness to your own people, to the people that support you, that's what causes regime change. That's why they will not back down on the enrichment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much.
Okay, sounds good. And this is now more friendly to the United States without doing a regime change. Okay, there's two reasons why a Venezuelan model is not achievable in Iran. Well, three reasons actually. One, there is no version of Israel next to Venezuela that would not tolerate the Islamic Republic continuing. That's one. The Iranian people are the way the Iranian people fight for a return of Pahlavi, the Venezuelan people have not done that for Machado. That's number two. Number three is that the way the pro regime people will abandon the Islamic Republic if this level of weakness is demonstrated by the Islamic Republic. We don't have that in Venezuela as well. So for these three reasons, Iran is not like Venezuela. All right, Jeffrey, did you want to add anything to that? Because Blake also asked you. Yeah.
So you touched on some of the key elements. One of the things I sent up the chain, this is something I sent up the chain when I heard about, when the story broke up regarding limited strikes. Given the Mullah regime's pseudo-theological motives and subsequent inelasticity in their belligerent and hostile behavior, including pursuit of WD capability, coupled with the increasing capability to obtain and sustain rapid breakout capability, right? So they can get something very quick. And the fact that the Mullah regime is collapsing right now, so it's already viewing everything in an existential threat anyway. They go down the S curve prospect theory and go from being risk averse to risk accepting because they have nothing left to lose, although they're trying to game that out. A limited strike is not optimal because a limited strike if it doesn't fully suppress or eliminate mullah retaliatory capability, they're just going to fire everything they got into the sky. So a strike has to be, and that's one of the things I pushed, was the strike has to be comprehensive with a particular focus on both suppressing and eliminating mullah retaliatory and or long-range strike capability, the mullah regime's ability to leverage stockpile WMDs in the country as a last punitive act against the Iranian people, and or as well as taking out IRGC and mullah leadership. That's what needs to happen. The mullah regime has to go. So like the idea of a deal and like all they're going to do is play for time. That's all the mullah regime's doing is playing for time, so in the hopes that they can cross the asymmetric deterrence threshold, define its possession of ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons. And now you have a North Korea or a pseudo-theologically version of Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state of the Chinese Communist Party in the Middle East that would then, because of its nuclear capability, at the minimum, insulate itself from any punitive action, but be a continuing supporting terrorism and all the rest of the shit around the region and abroad. Limited strikes are bullshit, and the strike has to be comprehensive with the goal of taking out the mullah regime. And while it's true, I mean, like it depends on how comprehensive that airstrike is, Armin. You might just have the mullah regime removed entirely, right? Donald is not happy. When Donald saw the video that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu showed him, like an hour-long video of like Iranians just being slaughtered, not fucking happy. Like all of Donald, like I promise you, like people think like when Donald says he wants killing to stop, that's like legit. He's not, and he like, and include like when he says, even when guys like me kind of get a little frustrated, when he's like, look, I don't want to have anybody in Ukraine, whether they're Ukrainians or Russians, are losing like 20,000 soldiers, a month. When he says that, he means it. And there's actually a geopolitical reasoning why he's doing that, because he's actually signaling this. I'm going to bring this back to what's going on in Iran. That President Trump is signaling to whatever dissident elements might be left within Russia's general military staff. The goal is Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state, not all of Russia. Just like President Trump's approach is, if there are people in the IRGC or the besieged that don't want to sit there, that don't have blood on their hands, and they're thinking about jumping ship, now is the time to do that and make yourself known. Because once those planes go in the air, warheads are going on foreheads, and it won't matter where the fuck you hide.
All right. So, guys, the list that I have is Jose and I think Jeffrey. I think that's what you wanted to say. Okay. So then Daniel, Sorgu, and then Danny. Okay. So wait, did I have Chris? I think Chris already. No, wait. Blake, Chris. Chris was first. Chris. Yeah, I missed Chris. Chris was ahead of everyone.
I can nod if you want.
Okay, thank you for being here. Chris, are you here? He had his camera on. Oh no. Did he leave already? People come and they raise their hand, and then as I think it's okay. Okay, Jose.
He's not in the participants, Jose.
No. I think like people think that maybe it's going to take longer than they anticipate, but
Hello?
let's go to Jose. Jose, hi, Jose.
How's it going, my man?
Good. What's your question?
Okay. So well, first question I wanted to know about the Dajjal on your team. The guy named Dajjal, is his name John Allen Martinson? Is that his real name? Can Dajjal answer?
Why are you asking people's real name?
No, I'm just curious. It isn't? Sorry?
No, that's not me. Who is?
Like, can we? No, Dajjal, don't answer this. Close your mic.
No,
it's not relevant to. It's not relevant to our conversation. Yeah. Okay.
All right, fine. Forget that question. I'm going to ask another question. It's related to this. Okay, you're apparently an atheist and you left Islam, right? So right now there is a religious war going on between the rabbis who want to bring back their antichrist and the Iranian mullahs. As an
I know
atheist,
this
you should
guy,
be neutral
Armin.
in this and
Wait,
not take
can you
Israel's.
guys close your wait? Hold on a second, guys. Can people who's not their turn please close their mic, please?
Armin, this
Okay.
is, I know this guy. That's my point.
I know. I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna listen to what he's saying. Like, guys,
Okay.
let's just write it in the chat, please. Okay, Jose, ask your question again. Go on.
Yeah, so like I said, okay, this is relevant to this because right now what we're having is Israel versus Iran. The Israeli Jews want to, well, the rabbis basically want to bring in their Messiah. So they have to take on all the Muslim countries. After Iran, they're going to go for Turkey and Pakistan. So you as an atheist, why are you?
No, this is unacceptable.
All right,
Let
guys,
me finish the question.
I am going to start removing people if they open their mic without this being their turn. Like, I don't understand how you're making our job to moderate this discussion. I don't understand this. I don't understand why, like Steph, especially you keep opening your mic and you have been told repeatedly to stop doing this. Go on, Jose.
Sorry.
No, you did it again. You didn't need to do that. But go on,
Me
Jose.
to say something, so I'm apologizing.
I'm gonna kick you out.
Okay, so
disable audio.
So like I was saying, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so as an avid atheist, why are you participating in Israel's religious wars against Muslims? Aren't you supposed to be neutral? Because if you heard Mike Huckabee speak recently, he said that he would like Israel to take over the entire Middle East. That's from the river to the sea. He recently admitted that America's ambassador to Israel. So this is a religious war between Jewish supremacists and Muslims. You know, you don't have to follow Islam. You could be neutral. You can hate Islam. You can leave the religion. That's not a problem. That's your business, right? You lost. It's your loss. But I'm saying, as an avid atheist, if you stick to your principles, you should not even participate in supporting Israel against Iran because it's not going to change things. After Iran, they're going to go after Pakistan, Turkey, the entire Muslim lands, Saudi, Jordan, you name it. Okay, so as an atheist, you should not even be involved in this subject. You should support a secular government in Israel first before dealing with the mullahs in Iran. The mullahs are reactionaries to Israel's bad behavior for 7 decades now, 8 decades. So it's not going to get things better. They're going to blow up the temple, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they're going to build their temple, and they're going to go to a whole religious war in the entire region. Okay, after they blow up Al-Aqsa, it's not going to get better. Even if America attacks Iran, all right, Iran has the ability to strike American soil now, and they'll do it with nukes because America has the carrier groups, 3 of them, right? They have 3 carriers in the Gulf, Persian Gulf right now, and if Iran wants, they can sink all 3 carriers. If that happens, America is going to nuke Iran. If Iran gets nuked, the Chinese and the Russians have supplied missiles that can hit U.S. soil, or Russian missiles that can reach the eastern seaboard of the U.S. So you got 100 million people that can die. Iran already has nukes. They had it from 2009. They probably have more right now, but they don't admit to it officially. So China and Russia and North Korea.
Get to the try to get close. Like, make your last point because I need to also start responding.
Yeah. So China and Russia would rather Iran strike America with thermal nukes than they themselves do it and get the blame and go down in history as the bad guys. So like I was saying, what benefit does it do to have Israel and America remove the mullahs in Iran? Things are going to change slowly, right? Things are going to be modernized over time. You don't need a regime change for that shit.
So I'm really grateful that you are here, and I hope that you come more often and give us your analysis, because, like, for our audience, for people who view this is like they could compare your analysis to like a 5-year-old, and they will see that like a 5-year-old probably has better understanding of how the globe works and geopolitics works. The anti-Israeli analysis is, it's also really funny. So we do also benefit from just listening to that. But I'm going to take it seriously, and I'm going to answer you seriously. But I just do want to say that I really do love you sharing your opinion as far as wide as much as you can. Okay, so please continue doing this. It's really in our benefit. With regards to Israel, let me add the people. Yeah, guys, I already added you to the list. Okay, so stop raising your hand. With regards to Israel, I don't know, rabbis, you don't understand how Israeli politics works. Israel's politics is not based on end times Jewish religion and based on bringing the Messiah or stuff like that. I've studied Israel's history and I've talked to many analysts, Israeli analysts. I've traveled to Israel. I talked to a lot of Israelis. Israel politics is based on survival, is based on responding to all the threats that it gets. Israel hasn't, throughout the history of Israel, Israel hasn't started a single war. If you actually did understand anything about the history of Israel, you could see that Israel, every single time Israel participated in a war, it was responding to other people starting a war, starting an attack against it. Israel is the number one threatened country in the world. No other country is threatened with absolute annihilation more than Israel. And Israel is doing a very beautiful job defending itself. By the way, Jose, I'm hearing a lot of background. So if you could mute your mic while I'm speaking, I appreciate that. I'll give you a chance to respond after this, right? So yeah, and Israel, I mean, when it comes to so these religious stuff that you're talking about, relative to almost all the other countries in the Middle East, Israel is a secular state. Maybe compared to France and the United States is not as secular, but compared to every other country in the Middle East, Israel is a secular country, and it makes this decision based on national interest, not based on religious motivations. And when it comes to Iran, and also when it comes to what's good for the Iranian people, trust me, the Iranian people understand what's good for them, what's in their best interest. The Iranian people are very politically aware. They understand their history. They understand what they're fighting for. So they know what they need and they are fighting for their freedom from mullahs. They're not fighting for reform. They already have tried reform. They know reform doesn't work. They know the Islamic Republic is not reformable. They are Iranian people are allies of United States. They're allies of the Iranian people are not majority Muslim. The Iranian people hate Islam. Many Iranian people hate Islam more than any country in the world. The number of people that hate Islam in Iran is higher than any other country in the world. And we do have Iranian Muslims, but the Iranian Muslims also understand the fact that many Iranians hate Islam, and many Iranian Muslims are now even secular. And even Iranian Muslims don't want reform. They want to completely topple the mullahs. And the Iranian people see eye to eye with the Israelis, and Iranians have historically been allies of Israel. The Iranian people and Israeli people have ancient ties. They're not even if they're not Islamically minded. They don't believe in the cult of death called Islam. The Israeli people are fighting for life. The Iranian people are fighting for life. And unlike Islam, that is a cult of death that believes in martyrdom, that believes in death being love, that loves death more than life. The Iranian people, just like Israeli people, are on team life. Islam is on team death. And for many other reasons, for that and many other reasons, Iranian people consider Israel to be their ally. They can't wait to topple the Islamic Republic so that Iran and Israel could become allies again. And just like it was before the Islamic Revolution. And also the number one favorite country of Iranian people is America. And also, by the way, the whole conspiracy theory when it comes to Israel is trying to bring the great Israel. The only great Israel that we need to bring back is the Israel that owns basically Gaza and the West Bank and the Golan Heights. There is no, other than a few nut jobs in Israel, just a few nut jobs, very, very few, very small in percentage. Nobody in Israel is trying to bring Israel between the Euphrates and the Nile. That project does not exist. That is just Jew haters accusations against Israel that they have no evidence for. Even when Prime Minister Netanyahu was talking about the Great Israel Project, he was talking about including the Judea and Samaria and Gaza into Israel, as they should. In my opinion, there is no negotiating with the so-called Palestinians. But yeah, so everything, all your understanding about how anything works in politics is complete nonsense, and it's easily demonstrable that it's based on nonsense. Like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure like you could find a few rabbis in Israel that have some crazy views, and I know the people, the Jew haters, just go and take them and try to make it seem like this is the position of all of Israel. I could do that with every country. I could go to United States and find some white supremacists and say like, oh look, this is what all America believes. I could do that with Israel. I could do that with any country. When it comes to if Iran is first, then Pakistan and Afghanistan are next. Honestly, I hope so. Um, I think Pakistan needs to be liberated. I think Afghanistan needs to be liberated. And honestly, we're not even going to wait for Israel. Pakistan and Afghanistan need to be liberated from Islam as well. And we Iranians are so anti-Islamic that and so secular minded that once Iran is free, we will like we don't like this is like Israel has already done so much. It's our turn to do some heavy lifting. Israel has already done so much when it comes to helping the world. Israel should be appreciated by the entire world as the country that did most of the heavy lifting when it comes to cleaning up the Islamic mess from the world. So they have done they have paid a higher price than the rest of the planet, and that's why we Iranian people appreciate Israel. We know how much hate they get for doing the world's dirty job. They have the courage that the rest of the countries in the world doesn't. So once Iran is free, I hope that we could let Israel rest a little bit once Iran is free and strong. And when it comes to doing a cleanup job, I think it should be Iran that picks up that work from Israel, so Israel could basically spend time just breathing a little bit and enjoy the fact that it has eliminated all of its enemy and enjoy now growing its economy even faster than before because it has eliminated all of the Islamic threats in the region, and let Iran do some of the heavy lifting a little bit when it comes to now the eastern borders of Iran. We need to go liberate Afghanistan from Islam. We need to go liberate Pakistan from Islam. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get some aid from Israel, but a lot of that work then needs to be done from Iran as well because it's our border. So it's our responsibility to help the people from Afghanistan, Pakistan get rid of their backward Islamic regimes as well. So yeah, hopefully we could see that world happening. And honestly, I think we will. It might take sooner or later, but I think we will get there. And I think we will. I mean, look at this. Nobody after October 7th, people thought Israel is weak, but look at what happened to Hamas. Look at what happened to the Houthis. Look at what happened to Hezbollah. Look at what happened to all of the leaders of IRGC. Israel has massively eliminated the vast majority of its enemies, and it will continue to do so. And once we liberate Iran, it will do so with its main ally in the region back. So it will be even more powerful because now the main source of its threat has been decapitated. So yeah, a lot of good things to come. So thank you for giving me that opportunity. All right, go on, Jose. And then Jeffrey wants to respond as well.
Can you hear me? Yeah, so regarding the messianic prophecies, what's his name? Rabbi Mendel Menachem Schneerson was telling Netanyahu in 1994 to bring about the Messiah, and Netanyahu said, yes, I'm working on that. This is before his death. All right, so Netanyahu is aiming not only for Pakistan and Afghanistan. I mean, Israel is not only aiming for Pakistan and Afghanistan, but Turkey as well. And Turkey is a modern European state. Muslim, all right, alhamdulillah, but they're European. Their model is European. It's not like Afghanistan or some parts of Pakistan, okay? So this is an entire thing. This is basically prophecy being fulfilled. Everyone is out to get each other, all right? And the Jewish supremacists have America under their thumb. Everybody knows this. I don't even know why you're denying the obvious. America went to Afghanistan and Iraq to save Israel, basically. All right. And I tell you something, if prophecy is being involved, it doesn't matter if 90% of Iranians leave Islam. That's not a number, but I know some did. It's not a lie either, but it's not 90%. Let's just say 90% of Iranians hate Islam. If prophecy is involved, that 10% that are solid Muslim, they'll take out Israel. They'll take out America. Okay. So you can hate Islam, the Islamic Republic, whatever. You don't believe in God. You're a Catholic. Okay. So that's fine. That's your choice, right? But I believe in Allah, and inshallah, you will see that the IRI, along with Pakistan and the Taliban and Turkey, will take out Israel and Egypt, hopefully too. All right. So let's just wait. Time will tell. And your fake secularism is also showing. All right. You just hate Islam, so you support the Jewish radicals as supremacists, those rabbis that want to take out Muslims. All right. You're a hypocrite, all right? That's why your blood is halal. Not because you're an atheist, but because you wage war against the Muslim populations on behalf of Israel. So
Wait,
as a state, your blood is a state. Now I'm saying people should take you out, but a government like the Iranian government has a right to take you out.
wait,
Okay.
can you explain to people what your blood is halal means for people? Your blood
Okay.
is halal. Can you
So in Islam, there are different understandings regarding murtad, apostasy, right? Certain
before you go into detail, like your blood is halal means it's okay to kill you. Like it's
but on a
basically
state, but
you're
on a state level,
you basically told me, like, I just want to translate to people that it's permissible to kill me. That's what you just said,
as a
right?
state, on a state level, not as individuals, non-state actors. Let me just clarify, so you don't falsely accuse me of saying something. All right, but let me get back to what I'm saying. So regarding the laws of Islam, apostasy, irtada, murtadin, right? There are different interpretations. Now, in the Old Testament, it does talk about killing apostates and stoning adulterers to death. The Prophet Muhammad did implement Jewish laws in the Old Testament when he came to Medina. This is a fact. But when the Quranic revelations came down, the Old Testament laws regarding stoning to death for adultery or killing the apostates was revoked. So in Islam, you could technically leave. No one's gonna fight against you. But if you go against the masses of the people, you're indulge in treason right now. You're supporting Israel and all of that stuff. Like you personally be an atheist, that's fine, not a problem. Okay, many millions of Iranians probably
But
are right now. But
what
when you
I'm doing makes it justified to kill me. Like not
because you're
not
political
your
now, you're
average.
political. Yeah, you got it. You're political. Your atheism is political and is threatening the Muslim communities worldwide. This is the first thing. So if you're an atheist beforehand because your iman is weak or you just misguided, that's between you and Allah. You get what I'm saying? So this is the different interpretations of apostasy. Now in the Maliki fiqh, Maliki jurisprudence, if somebody leaves Islam or even a large number of people on their own will, you can take
All right.
jizya from them. So we can't even take jizya from you, even if you're an apostate, because you're waging war against Islam.
So, but by the way, Jose, you're not trolling us, right? Like you're actually like believe this stuff, like because this is like sometimes I can't tell the difference between a Muslim and a troll. It's really hard. But are you trolling us?
I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I'm not
Okay.
saying people should randomly kill you in Canada. I'm not saying that. I have Iranian ancestry too, alhamdulillah. My Iranian ancestors brought Islam to the subcontinent. I'm Iranian Sunni, by the way. Iran was one time a Sunni country. If you become Sunni again, you guys will love Islam.
Yeah, sure. By the way, guys, I know some of you might think that this guy is a troll, but honestly, they're so similar that they're indistinguishable, right? Like right so far. So you're Sunni?
Yes, born Sunni Hanafi fiqh, follower of Hanafi fiqh. I'm Sunni
Hanafi fiqh.
origin.
Okay, and you don't consider the Muslims in Iran to be mushrikeen because of their, the way they treat Ali,
like
Hussein, and Fatima?
there are different types of Shia. There's the Zaydi in Yemen. There's the Iraqi Shia.
If the fact that that Khamenei prays to Ali or Hussein, do you consider him a mushrik or not?
If you pray to them and you call upon them, that is shirk. But it's a different layer of shirk, shirk al-asghar.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So
I'm not doing takfir. Hold on. Let me respond. I'm not doing takfir on the masses of Iranian Muslims because I know so many Iranian Shias, okay? And they're the same. We're brothers.
Yeah, I understand that. We could talk. I'd like to talk to you about these more. Like if I want to give other people a chance to speak now after you. But if you email me, we could actually have like a one-on-one discussion for hours if you want. Okay, so my email is armin.navobi@gmail.com. Right? If you want to have a one-on-one discussion another time,
can you message me? Can you text me? Can you text me on here or on my chat in the chat?
Yeah, but my email is armin.navobi@gmail.com. armin.navabi@gmail.com.
Oh, same name, right? .navabi.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And yeah, regards to defending Israel, why am I, as an atheist, why am I defending Israel if they're Jewish and stuff? My atheism doesn't rob me from my humanity. Okay, I would defend. I don't just defend Israel. I defend every country, including Islamic countries, because they're filled with humans. Okay, if we spend more time in Israel, is because Israel is threatened more than any other country, but also because as an Iranian people are allies of Israel because of our mutual interests and our mutual enemies. Israel deserves the most defense because it gets threatened the most. Israel deserves the most defense because it's doing the most when it comes to fighting Islamic extremism all around the world without getting credit. And as an Iranian, a third reason I defend Israel is because we're allies of Israel and we have mutual interests. Even if they were a very religious, they had a religious state, which they don't. Even if they did, I would still defend them because I don't when it comes to defending people, unlike you who apparently only defends people who have the share the same ideology with you, I defend humans regardless for the sake of being human. Okay, so it seems like your Islam has robbed your humanity away from you, so you're so tribal that you only defend people who agree with you. But my atheism has not robbed my humanity away, because for me, when I defend somebody, they don't have to be an atheist. They could be Muslim, they could be Jewish, they could be Christian, they could be Hindu. I defend them because they're human and they deserve to live. So I'm not as tribal as you are. So that's why Israel being Jewish or non-Jewish doesn't really affect me when it comes to defending them. But Jeffrey, if you want to respond to Jose, can you keep it very short because our list is very long? So please, there's so many people on the list. Yep.
I mean, the first one is he tried to argue that there's this small sect in Judaism. So he's referring to the, I always butcher these guys' names, the Nuri Karta. They're like 5,000 people and they're like 0.02% of like 0.02% of 16 million Jews globally. And the existence of that minor sect does not define Israeli government or the official Israeli policy. You could actually see that because Bibi actually denied the suggestion in the Knesset after the terrorist attack of October 7th that was brought by a couple of representatives in the Knesset that are indeed part of a more doctrinaire element of Zionism to implement the Samson Protocol, which is to use all of Israel's nuclear weapons against all their enemies. As far as like the mullahs have been reacting to Israeli belligerency, that's horseshit. I mean, the mullah regime was a creation of an act of belligerency via the Red Black Alliance, comprised of Soviet active measures within the region and Islamic fundamentalists, and after which the mullah regime immediately initiated acts of aggression, violence, and terrorism against every actor in the region, including the state of Israel. As far as the Mullah regime being provided nuclear capability of ballistic missiles by the Chinese Communist Party or Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state, a claim that you've yet to substantiate. I mean, that's possible. Indeed, Putin and the Chi-Coms are coordinating their efforts within the Mullah regime as part and parcel of an attempt to sap or to stretch U.S. and U.S.-led Western alliances force projection. I mean, that being said, though, such coordination coupled with the fact that we're in the opening stages of a high-intensity systemic war, coupled with the elasticity of mullah belligerence, positively selects for the U.S. and Israel and Western alliance to eliminate the mullah regime and take them off the board consistently on this show. I mean, like, I guess the last one would be as far as the state of Israel. I mean, Armin's right. One can look at the state of Israel has existed for 3,000 years, and it's been demonstrated by the Benepta Stele from like 1200 BC, the Palestinian Mandate, if you actually choose to read it and understand it, or like the UN's acts in 1948. I mean, basically everything you said, you're either a troll, whatever. I mean, regardless if you're a troll or you're like a true believer, like everything you said is utter horseshit and can be easily disproved. I promise you, bro. I promise you. You don't speak for all the members of the Ummah as someone who has practicing Sunni Muslims in his family. And there is a big difference between Islam, the belief system, and the vast majority of the Ummah, which Armin has made a point to separate here, as have I. And all of us are going to get rid of all of you, all you Islamic fundamentalist fucks. So you go ahead and do whatever you got to do, hiding behind your false name and trying to get Dajjal to sit there and tell who he is. I got no fucking problem saying who I am, bro. I say my shit with my chest out. I'll look for you on the field, bitch.
All right, Jose, I added you to the list at the bottom because we need to go through the other people. We'll get back to you. Okay, so I have Chris, Daniel, Sorgu, Danny, Sammy, Ali, Cadlady, Jose. Jose, if it's okay, like, can you close your mic? I will get back to you because we have a big list, so we want to get to other people as well. Okay, I'm gonna add Dajjal as well. Dajjal. All right, so Chris.
Yeah, clearly raised their hand before.
Yeah. Before who? Where was she?
I think above Jose.
Okay, so I'm gonna put him right at the top then. Okay. Chris, are you here? Open
Yeah,
your mic. Okay. Yeah, go
can
on.
you hear me?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about Israel. Israel, Greece, and Cyprus now has a kind of defense treaty. Cyprus has now been given the new Barak missile system that might protect Israel from any Hezbollah attack. So the missile system now on full alert now. It's based at Paphos Airport, which is a military airport, which houses Greek F-16s, and now it'll be Israel will also be using that airbase as well. This is just to counterattack Turkey. Your previous Muslim caller was talking about Turkey being a serious threat. Well, this is to counter Turkey's threat. Now, India has now been called into the fore. And now I believe maybe Iran, a free Iran, might also be included in that fold as well. I don't know what you think about that.
Okay, so thank you for that, Chris. I just want to add that Turkey doesn't have the balls to directly attack Israel in any shape or form. The greatest when it came to threatening Israel, after October 7th, after so much pressure by Muslims all around the world for Turkey to do anything, they said they're going to stop trade with Israel. And even then, they like stopped like 10 or 20% of their trade with Israel. Like they couldn't even, when it comes to actually standing against Israel, Turkey didn't even go as far as cutting their trade, let alone ever attacking Israel. I'm not saying Turkey is not a problem. Turkey is a problem because they deserve that. Like, is a legacy, bring back the legacy of Ataturk to Turkey. But when it comes to Israel, the way that they cause problems for Israel is through proxies. Turkey would never dare go head to head against Israel in a direct confrontational war. Okay, let's go to Am I pronouncing this right? Klil? Klil? Thank you, Chris.
I meant after Cat Lady.
Oh, after Cat Lady. Okay, so I'm gonna bring her
So I
down the list. Okay. Daniel. Okay, let's go Daniel then.
Hi, good evening. I recently saw like a couple hours ago a reel on Instagram that students in Tehran University went through the blockade. Is that real? Like, do you have some information on that?
Went through a blockade. I don't know what that means. There are a lot of
Like,
protests right now in Iran.
like from what I understand, that there were students in the university and the Basiji and the IRGC just like blocked the exit from the university, and the students are basically stuck in the university, and so they like cooperated and like broke through this.
I haven't seen that. Are you sure this is not an older tweet? Maybe post it in the chat. I'll check it. Whenever you want me to fact check something like this, post the link in the chat and I will take a look. Okay.
Well, I actually will post it right away. And the second one is, have you heard like Khamenei planned to give transfer his authority if he dies, like to the IRGC court or something like this?
So Khamenei doesn't. Wants his son to become the next supreme leader. Close your mic because I'm hearing a little background noise. He wants his son Mujtaba. Okay, he wants his son Mujtaba Khamenei to become the next supreme leader. They have a lot of contingency plans regarding who to be the next supreme leader. He does. He has been when Israel attacks. He has been giving members of IRGC more autonomy to decide because he's hiding in his hole and he cannot effectively give commands. It is not his plan for IRGC to become, the main power after he dies. But he's not. But that's IRGC's plan. Khamenei's plan is for Mushtaba Khamenei, his son, to be the next supreme leader and for him to be influential. But he's not able to control IRGC because IRGC has more money. IRGC has all the weapons. The Beit Rahbari, which is the basically office of the supreme leadership, is rich, but is not as rich as IRGC, and it doesn't have the military power of IRGC. However, it has more soft power than IRGC. So Khamenei has more soft power within the Islamic Republic. The supporters of Khamenei, the emotional attachment that they have to Khamenei, they don't have that as much with IRGC because IRGC is an institution, Khamenei is a person. Psychologically, it's harder for you to bond with an institution than an individual, a charismatic leader that you bond with, that you admire, and you like kind of worship, right? And that's the main power, the soft power that Khamenei has, and that's why I think, in my opinion, IRGC can't wait for Khamenei to die so that the transfer of power completely goes from the Beit Rahbari to Sepah, meaning from the office of the supreme leadership to IRGC. IRGC would want to have a supreme leader that they could control, a toothless, powerless, symbolic supreme leader, so that basically they could control as a puppet for the IRGC to control everything. And Khamenei probably knows that's what the IRGC wants, but he's not able to stop it. I would actually even think that the IRGC right now probably would want to offer Khamenei as a sacrifice to America to come and hit, and then let the rest of the IRGC to continue. That would be the most ideal situation for them. But no, if you're saying is that the Khamenei's plan, that is not his ideal plan, even though that's where things were moving to for a very long time. And this is just escalating it. The fact that during the 12-day war, Khamenei gave a lot of autonomy to IRGC created the precedent for the IRGC to be able to have some autonomy without the supreme leadership. Get Daniel, if you want to add anything really quickly, because our list is long.
Yeah, really
Jose,
quick,
you're on
just
the list. I added you to the list. Yeah, go on.
yeah, really quick. Most of the Israelis are just don't want to have anything in a relationship with Gaza. Almost every Israeli just want to like, oh, we don't want that piece of crap. Egypt, please take it. Like most of the Israelis hate the idea that Gaza would be part of Israel.
Yeah, but for security reasons, it's really difficult not to hold Gaza because Gaza has already been. Yeah, and Samantha, I know you disagree with me, but giving up Gaza caused October 7th, right? I mean, I have empirical evidence for why giving up Gaza is a bad idea. Like you did it, and October 7th caused October 7th. So
yeah, the
you need
problem
to.
was.
Yeah.
The problem was that it was under Hamas jurisdiction rather than under Egypt jurisdiction.
I wouldn't trust Egypt. I wouldn't trust Egyptians with Gaza.
Egyptians pretty much hate Palestinians. Like when they're fighting against
Yeah,
Gaza started,
I don't care. I
they
don't
didn't
care.
let
They're not. I
anybody.
don't care what they think. They're not equipped to. They're not well equipped to control Gaza. Okay, only Israel's army can manage Gaza. Nobody other than Israel's army can manage Gaza. Even if tomorrow we woke up and Egypt became like the number one ally of Israel, even if every single Egyptian tomorrow became in love with anything and everything that is Israeli, okay, even if that happens, Egypt cannot secure Gaza. Oh, thank you, Samantha. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I've just been wondering, as an American, do you think Mamdani is like a woke guy who's just pretending to be Muslim, or do you think it's the other way around, where he's like secretly some like jihadi guy who's pretending to be progressive?
Yeah, I actually disagree with a lot of people here on Mamdani. A lot of people consider Mamdani to be a threat because he's Muslim jihadi. I think Mamdani is a threat because of his communist leftist views. I think that's the bigger danger. And I think when it comes to Islam, the way that he's a threat Islamically is the same way that progressive leftists are a threat. They're the ones who open the door to Islamists. So Mamdani himself, I mean, people are like, oh, but Armin, he has done this with regards to Islam, he has done that with regards to Islam, so that shows that he's a jihadi Islamist. I'm like, everything you're listening to me is exactly what progressive leftists do when it comes to Islamists, right? So eh, when it comes to Mamdani's behavior, his behavior for me matches more the behavior of a leftist more than an Islamist. And honestly, to me, that's even more dangerous.
No, that I just want to say, like, I think you and I think very alike in terms of what counts as danger, because you think the progressives are more dangerous, and I completely agree, because like they're able to portray themselves as the virtue noblest, the noble people, because overt hostility is much easier to detect than if you wrap your words around, you know, inclusive and equality and all that stuff. And yeah, and I also, just from the vibes, I think Mamdani is sort of, he's basically just like a wokey Muslim guy he's a wokey at heart, but Muslim is basically just a clothing that he puts on, but I
Yep.
think he's more woke at heart. So I think we kind
Yeah.
of agree there.
Yeah, so for me, the Muslim part of Mamdani is one of his intersectionality points as a woke person. You know, not like like it's just one of the things. One way his progressive a point of being a foreigner, being a migrant, being Muslim. It's just a point that he has, that he's a Muslim. So when I compare, you know, the progressives to Islamists, to me the Islamists are the barbarians at the gate that would have never been able to make it inside if it wasn't for the progressives opening the gates from from the inside. And this is why the progressives are so dangerous, because they're the ones who are opening the gates to the barbarians.
So to respond a bit to the Nazi rant from earlier, the problem when you make huge predictions about all the terrible things that Jews want to do is that most of us were not born yesterday. So you can check all of your Nazi ideas against the historical record. For example, Arabs have been claiming that Jews are about to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque for more than a century now, and it is unfortunately still standing, despite being under Jewish control for most of that time. And the country that is trying to fulfill a prophecy does not give back or offer to give back territory that it controls to other countries that have multiple times demonstrated their inability to destroy it. Anyway, the original reason I raised my hand is I wanted to ask Armin, when did Iran start democratically electing prime ministers? I'm kind of confused about the process of the Shah appointing them.
Wait, when would they, after we are free? When would Iran?
No, I'm asking before 1979. When was there democracy for prime ministers?
So we had during the Qajar dynasty, there was a revolution that tried to limit the powers of the Shah, to switch us from a absolute monarchy to a constitutional monarchy. That was attempted and failed, because they tried to have that, they had a parliament and everything, but the Shah had the Qajar Shah at that time came out and crashed the parliament, like they bombed the parliament, they basically stopped it from happening. So it was an attempt, the revolution started then, the basically the constitutional monarchy revolution to limit the powers of the Shah started then, and it failed during the Qajar dynasty. During when Reza Shah came, when Qajar dynasty fell and the Pahlavi dynasty came into power, they wrote a constitution, and in that constitution they had the parliament, and they had the prime minister. So it effectively started with the Pahlavis, with the first Pahlavi king, and based on the new constitution under the Pahlavi.
And so, with the first Pahlavi king, were prime ministers chosen by being elected by people, and then the Shah appoints them based on that, or what?
No, so the people choose their members of the parliament. Okay, and the parliament, the members will choose the prime minister, and the king basically approves it, or like selects it, or either selects it or approves it. I don't know exactly how the details work, but I know the prime minister was not directly. I know this much. I know the prime minister is not directly was not directly voted by the people.
I like that model. Anyway.
All right. So the list is Sami, Ali, Katedi, Cleel, Jose, Dijal, and then Cameron. Okay. So right now, Sami. Sami, are you still here?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, so I would take 1 minute to respond to some of the things Jose said, right? Like, I don't know whether it was Jose or someone else, but they were talking about Iran not being ruled by a Sunni leader. Well, to tell him, most of the terrorist organization come from, Sunni Islam. So, behest of that, things won't be good if you don't get the independence from these radical gurus, right? And Armin, I wanted to ask you a simple question. Do you feel that Muslim Brotherhood is still somehow, involved in these, let's say, these radical governments, still, like, not just Iran, but in Afghanistan, or let's say Pakistan being a theocracy itself, or things changing on in Bangladesh or countries like Maldives? Do you think Muslim Brotherhood is somehow responsible or involved in these things?
Well, not that directly. Muslim Brotherhood, I mean, obviously everything is connected, right? But many, like in Iran, it's not Muslim Brotherhood, it's the Velayat Esna, the Esna Ashari Velayat Faqih version of Shia Islam, right? So, I mean, like Muslim Brotherhood is mostly influential in Turkey and Qatar and Gaza. I mean, also in Judea Samaria and I don't know, Morocco. In Saudi Arabia, there are like they have secret cells and stuff like that. In Egypt, they're still like influential, but not in the places that you mentioned.
I mentioned Bangladesh, I mentioned Pakistan, I mentioned
Okay,
Afghanistan.
Bangladesh, I don't know. Pakistan, I mean, Pakistan and Afghanistan, I mean, I'm not aware if they are, but there's so many other different sects that are not Muslim Brotherhood in Pakistan and Afghanistan that I can't imagine even if they have an influence for that influence to be that big of a deal. I could be wrong about that. But for me, when I think Muslim Brotherhood's influence, I mostly think Qatar, Turkey, Egypt, I don't know, Morocco. Like when it comes to the Islamic Republic, Muslim Brotherhood is the idea that Vilayat Faqih was copied that idea and made a Shia version of it. But it's not like they're present inside Iran right now. So they're not like it was the spark. The ideas from Muslim Brotherhood was the spark that started what we now have in Iran. But no, they're not that present in Iran.
Yeah,
Mostly Turk.
like I have a quick follow up, because you see a common phenomena happening in all of these places, and that phenomena is that people in the mosque, the mullahs and the holy people of Islam, usually they are the ones spewing this nonsense in media, and then you see this follow up by the masses, by the I would say these in my language they are called qoms, in my and Pakistani language, these communities to these ideologies, and I because they are doing something that is very common, and I don't know who's controlling them or whether they are getting controlled by someone.
Yeah, a lot of these things are more organic than people realize. But let me see. So Turkey, Egypt, Pakistan, indirect influence via Jamaat Islami, their primarily local counterpart in Pakistan. Okay, so obviously in Qatar, main big, in Turkey big, in Egypt big, in Pakistan, indirect influence via Jamaat Islami, in Bangladesh, influence via Jamaat Islami, currently gaining ground after recent government collapse. In Maldives, ideological, no formal wing in Maldives, but ties exist with Adallah Adalah party. And so yeah, they have connection in these other countries that you mentioned. There's always connections because Muslim Brotherhood is big and global, but not as big as in Qatar, Turkey and Egypt. Okay.
Like Arman, because
last point because we need to go to the next person. But go on. Yeah.
Because this Jamaat-e-Islami organization that you just talked about right now, it is influencing the majority of Southeast Asia, right? It's like India banned that organization, but there was a time when it was prevalent in India too. So like that's what I was saying.
Okay. So they share same Islamic ideology. So Jamaat Islami is not a Muslim Brotherhood, but it's similar, apparently. All right, let's go. Thank you. Let's go to the next. Ali, are you here?
I'm here.
Jose, you're on the list. So let me just read the list. Ali, Cat Lady, Cleo, Jose, Dijol, Cameron. Okay, go on, Ali.
I'm here. Yeah. I want you to take a deep breath, Harman. I know you've been trying really hard to convince people for years now to change their minds, and I love how masterfully you're doing it with so much patience. I had a question. Basically, my plan, and I want anyone to feel free to critique this. My plan is, so I currently hold a job here in California. It's a well-paying job. It's at a big company, but I know that I would regret it so much if I didn't go to Iran when Pahlavi goes and establishes a transitional government. I've wanted this since I was a kid. I've lived in both countries, but I was born in the United States, and I know that I would absolutely regret it. So I want to go there. On one hand, I'm giving up the security of a life that I already have established here as someone in their mid to late 20s, but the excitement of the unknown there and the massive amount of economic opportunities gives me the confidence that I'll do fine. And so my plan was I show up, even if I have to go walk into the government buildings. Of course, online applying exists, but that's my plan. And I was wondering if anyone had any critique of that or insight.
Wait, so you want to go there and work for the government, did you say?
Yeah, so I was planning on working in the transitional government or even the government to come after that, because I feel like that would give me the most amount of personal satisfaction to help people.
Okay, amazing. So, I mean, that is, I admire that you want to do that. You just want general advice, or do you have a specific question?
Yeah, advice or critique.
Advice or critique. Don't burn, advice is don't burn any bridges. Is it possible for you to basically, whatever you're doing, to go and test this but be able to come back to what you had if it ends up not being a thing that works out for you? Like, is that possible for you to do that? So
that's always an if, but I'm sure I can
Yeah.
come back and find a job. So I'm currently a scientist, like a heart scientist, and it's a very specialized field. So when you talked about how your dad is a heart surgeon, it's actually like, I don't know if we are in the same realm of the cardiology field, but it's something I can come back and I'd probably find something, within a year. And I'm also in my 20s. I don't have a wife or kids or mortgage, so I can take this risk.
So this is not much of a risk then, like you're gonna go, you're gonna try, because you then have something to come back to if it doesn't work out, right?
Yeah.
You go experiment, you apply. So yeah, try to see if you could secure a job before you quit whatever you're doing. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
You know what I've done? I've actually, I read the IPP. It's like 169 pages. I went on LinkedIn. I found as many emails of the authors that I could. I emailed them all. Even Shervin, like the huge like tech guy, emailed everyone, Instagram, and wherever I can find them. I totally understand that no one can get back to me because, of course, what's going on right now.
They're not thinking about what to do after the
No, absolutely
revolution
not.
because they're in the middle of a war right now, right?
Yeah, and it's not. I don't go to them with the approach of like, "Hey, give me a job." It's just like, "Hey, I am this person, and I would love to help in any way." So, yeah,
Wait,
but thank you.
Wait, I have an advice. Nara in the chat is saying, "Ali, take me with you." Nara, are you single? Because I think you guys could go together. Nara in the chat is asking you to take her, so maybe you guys could connect and you could take her with you.
California, so.
What? You're single? Single? Okay, exchange emails in the chat. Okay, maybe you guys could hook up. All right, so what was I saying? Yeah, but no, I mean, by the way, I really appreciate you thinking so much about serving Iran. That is like, as we say in Persian, durud be sharafet. And honestly, even if you don't, if you really want to go back to Iran, don't limit yourself when it comes to working for the transitional government, okay? Because there's probably going to be so many applications, and I'm sure you will be able to, like, I'm not saying you're not going to be able to make it, but there's so many things in Iran that will be opening, that even if it's not part of the transition government, there's so many opportunities here in Iran that if you don't make that, there, don't give up on trying to find other ways. There's also ways for you to have one foot in Iran and one foot in the United States and take advantage of being a bridge, between, like, you could work in both Iran and the United States at the same time and constantly keep traveling between both and use that. And in fact, that's such an asset. The fact that you have connections and know-how in the United States, maybe it would be a major loss if you completely go to Iran. Maybe the fact that you have the know-how and the connections and understand the protocols or whatever your industry requires in the United States, having one foot in the United States will be beneficial to your presence in Iran, because you will be able to help so many Iranians connect to different people and businesses in the United States with your connection. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we have this like heart device, and so the company is Johnson & Johnson. I'll just say it, but basically, there's this one product that I'm like one of the main scientists for, and my boss and I and a team of other people are basically in charge of launching this in different countries. And so last year when we launched it, we did China, Japan, Korea, we did Brazil, UK, Germany. We did most countries around the world. And I've been telling her, like, for a month now, like, there's this country, 90 million people. We haven't had access to it forever. We will in a few months. And I'm trying to push that as hard as I can. So if I can't do that and get sent over, then, I'm going anyway. So.
Well, awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you. Durudbet. All right. Keep us updated as once all of this happens. All right. So let's go to Cat Lady. Cat Lady?
Yes. So are you opening a Navabi matchmaking agency soon?
Well, let me see
to
how
work.
this one works out. Yeah.
So a couple of things. I'm sorry for interrupting earlier. I just recognized the
That's
voice
okay.
of this guy. Got so excited. And but yeah. Okay. So since he's right after me, I want to raise some points, and I hope he will answer. It's not to like shit on someone. It's, even though I would love to shit on him, but it's he can respond, right? So, based on my memory of the points he used to make in the lives of the Lubnadid, I would say he supports Nazism. He supports raping women. He even said that many wives it's manly, and he supports killing apostates and Jews. And he says that he used to be institutionalized in a crazy words because the Jews did it. All of those points are showing you that the immigration system of Canada is great because this guy is a
Not true.
Bengali, if I'm
Not
not
true.
wrong. You see,
Not true. Not true. Not
wait,
true.
wait,
Not true.
no,
Not
no.
true.
If I'm not remembering right, I will love for you to correct me. Okay, I'm just putting all the points and later just go over them. No problem. Maybe
You're on
my
the list,
memory.
Jose.
Yeah, maybe my
You're on the
memory is
list,
not
Jose.
correct. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm also Jewish, so you cannot. What am I saying, right? So please answer, Mr. Jose Sanchez.
Okay, well, after Cat Lady, actually, after you is Cleel, and after that is Jose. So let's just go through Cleel, and then we go to Jose, okay? Okay, Cleel?
Okay, so I wanted to respond to Jose as well. I'm from Israel, and I went alliance is about national global freedom and economic freedom between countries. So that's exactly what Israel represents, and that's exactly what Armen and Iran represents, and that's exactly why we should work together, and why should America and other Western nations should work with us, because we're fighting the same fight against the same enemies, and part of those enemies are the Muslim Brotherhood and the political Islam, global Islam, and communists and leftists, and that's why we're fighting together.